It's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
And boom. What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back, goddammit, to another edition of Tell Me a Joke, the guideline and chasing the dream. I'm your host of Maniacal, Menace, Kyle Smith. Say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And today, goddammit, in the beautiful area that we are, it is secluded out here, but there are black people. They're black people. You don't seem as if you should see black people, but man, put your hands together for Saint Atlas. Hey, there you go. All right.
What's up?
Yeah, we are here. We made it. Hell yeah. How you been?
I've been all right.
Yeah?
I've been big chilling, focusing on my dreams. How you been?
I'm good. It has been a journey. It has been a journey, but 4 years and counting. So I guess it's 4. I started. Well, we close to it. Once 2024 gets here, then that's when everything will kind of transition over, and it's like, oh, okay, 4 years in. Yeah, all right, you've been doing it. So I've been happy. So how's life?
Life is a journey.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for life. It's my biggest teacher.
Yeah.
Life is woo, but you know that she got hands.
Yeah, she do. She do. If you don't know how to bob and weave, she'll knock your ass out.
Come on.
Yeah, I ain't prepared for the knockouts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put no L on the resume. But sometimes you gotta admit that, hey, all right, you got me this time.
Pick your battles.
Yeah, definitely.
Pick your
definitely. So, what is your inspiration to write?
My biggest inspiration actually is life herself.
Yeah.
I figure that we all go through things with her, and a lot of times we feel that we're alone, but we're not. Like, we're all one. We're all connected. We're all the same people. We tend to just forget about that. So my objective is to help people release themselves from their mental cage, because a lot of times that's where we get stuck at, is behind our own mind. And we're so worried about the outside world, but we got to focus internally first. So I want to teach people how to open up to themselves before they try to keep opening up to everybody else.
Come on. That's exactly what this is. That's kind of how this goes. This is exactly what this is, because Tell Me a Joke, the guideline and chasing a dream. And so it's just like, there's no real guideline, but there's people out there that can at least guide you onto a correct path on making this more easier for you, because man, just the life of an artist or an entertainer, it is difficult. Mm. It is difficult, and it is time consuming. It is taxing. Mentally, it'll break you down, and especially if you're not prepared for it.
Oh man, and you know what? It's like, artists don't understand how much of an impact they actually have. Like, artists, we do what we do, and it's like almost so effortless to us, and it's almost like such a release for us that we don't understand that not everybody could do what we could do. Yeah. It's a gift. We were gifted this power, so it's our will to use it.
Right. Right. Wow. So how long have you been writing?
Oh man, I've been writing for all my life. Honestly, I was like that kid in the back of the classroom.
Yeah.
I was an introvert. I didn't have too many friends. I didn't mess with too many people, but I always had either a sketchbook or a journal, and I'd be writing or I'd be drawing. And it's just because, I needed that release. I had a little bit of a temper. So, so I found a healthier outlet to help me release everything that I have pent up.
Yeah. So, the writing aspect, but how long you been getting on stage?
I've been on stage for probably about 5 years. I was doing that pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. And then when COVID hit, a lot of my spots that I used to go to got shut down. Yeah. So I ended up taking some time off. And then I got back into Advent this year. So I've only been there for about 4 months. Okay. Just getting back into the swing of things and meeting amazing people. All the artists there are, come on, like, amazing.
I've been talking to a few people online, and I'm like, man, they've been hitting up certain places, and they're like, man, I didn't feel good doing it. And it's like, yeah, avant-garde is a bit different when it comes to like a community of people, not even just artists, just people in general. The normies.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's just like the first time I went there, it's overwhelming because of the amount of people that's there, and it's just for a poetry show, and it's just like, oh, how is this going to go? Because most of the times when you do deal with certain poetry places that are out here, they don't show the love like Avant does. And like I've hit up a few people and they're like, yeah, man, it didn't feel good. And I was like, why not? It's like, I don't know if the people were into it, they weren't paying attention.
Yeah, that attention span been going down.
Now Avant-Garde is a great place for what they're doing, and now that they've switched over to Rudyard's too on Tuesdays.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I had the opportunity to perform there this Tuesday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's this at Rudyard's. It's more intimate, and I feel like you really just get to project more and they listening.
The
and
intimacy
like,
is always something, especially when it comes to just poetry. Like I've done, I haven't done comedy. Yeah, I have. I've done comedy there, and then they've switched the stage around, which is, it's nice to have the stage where it's at. But doing Barfest, when I was at Barfest, I was like, oh, just the feedback that you get from it, you really feel it because everything doesn't dissipate because the ceilings are low and they're like right there in front of everybody. So I felt energized when I got up on that stage, and I was like, oh, this is nice. But in my head, I'm still like battling between like comedy and the poetry side of things out here, because comedy is one thing. Like, you're not gonna get the love when you go anywhere to do comedy, just because it's like, all right, I've had 3 beers and now I want you to make me have a good time. And it's like, well, hopefully this makes you have a good time. Right. But when it comes to poetry, it's just like, oh, we're about to enjoy whatever comes our way. And it's just like, yeah, okay, good. So y'all are here, y'all are attentive, and y'all are definitely willing to understand whatever their feelings that they're bringing to the stage. Right. And like, I'm just seeing that for as long as I've been down here, like just trying to transition into like more mainstream of being an artist out here, it has been very difficult, and I don't want to beat myself up about it, but in my head, I'm like, am I not doing enough? That's always the thing. It's not you. It's just the time. It's like, but something I had to learn real early was like, patience is crazy. There's so many different teachers that life like puts you on the path to meet, and what you want most is gonna be your hardest teacher. Yeah. So what you want to attract most is probably gonna get in your way the most, because you want it so bad. So you really you're an amazing artist. I think you do good with putting your poetry and your comedy together. Mm-hmm. That's what makes you so unique. Thank you know what I'm saying? But everything is coming to you at the speed it's supposed to, how it's supposed to. You're getting put in situations how you're supposed to, because your time is coming. You just gotta wait on it, and once you wait on it and you really put in that work, it's gonna feel so much better than if it just came to you. I've been learning to put the phone down and just not be tempted by all of the goodness that you can see up on the internet, and it's just like, I've been learning from the people that I've been listening to on podcasts, to where like once they have gotten to the place that they want to get, like they shut their phone off. They don't even like. I was listening to Brian Simpson on Joe Rogan, and he was like, on Mondays I turn my phone on do not disturb all day. And if it's important, then I'll tend to it, but if not, then I don't pay attention to it at all. Right. And I'm like, oh, I'm not there, but that does sound like it feels good. Baby steps. Baby steps, because I go up on the air, I'm like, man, this person's doing this and this person's doing that, and am I being a hater right now? I think you're being a hater, Kyle. And it's like, all right, just, you know what, you're not supposed to be always paying attention to this. You don't have to. That's not for you. That's not you. Just because you're not doing it doesn't mean that you need to be there. And I'm like, oh, okay, life lessons. These lessons are Oh, they're hard to learn, but you know,
it's like if you don't learn them though, they're gonna make you.
Yeah.
It's like you either do it now, or I'm gonna keep putting you in situations where you got to keep retaking this test over and over, because you notice like we go through the same problems even when we accomplish something or a goal or a problem. It'll pop back up again, but it's just like another test. Like, are you gonna pass it again this time? Did you learn from it?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't? Bet we gonna have to start this all over again.
Yeah, pop quiz, nigga, because you ain't learned the first lesson. It's like, oh, I have that in my life. There's a whole bunch of things that reoccur, and it's just like you've seen this before, and it's like are you gonna be able to do what you need to do this time, or are you gonna let it take over you like it did last time? And they come in different masks. Just because, like, it's the same mask, but just a different shade. So every time I do see it, I'm like, I've seen this before, but it's a bit different. But I know it's the same thing, and now I gotta act accordingly. But it's just like the temptation is there, and it's like, oh man, I know what's gonna come if I do this, but yeah, I gotta learn. Hey, look at that, people coming in. All right. I hope they come to play Not Something Loud. So, it's been a good day, though. But what is your inspiration for writing?
Just like feelings and emotions too. I tend to go off of stories. Like when I write and when I speak, I would like to be a storyteller. Like I want y'all to go on this journey for me. Like I feel like when you're speaking and you're writing, you have full attention. Like you have rappers, singers, everybody that puts on a show, and everybody's like singing along and they're dancing along. But when you're doing poetry, you have everybody's undivided attention. So the words you say right now, they matter. Yeah. And people are paying attention. So make sure you pierce through that level of their brain that can absorb all of this stuff. Yeah. So everybody is my inspiration. I want us all to realize that we're connected, and the only division between us is ourselves. Like there's been so many things, so many obstacles put into life to split us up, to cause hatred, to cause anything other than love. And I just feel like if we all were on the same page, even if I just get y'all attention for 5 minutes on this stage, I'm going to do what I can every single time to make sure that y'all understand that we are together. And once you release yourself from you have so much more access to everybody else. But you got to take the chains off of yourself first, boo. You got to you got to.
Mary in this
Come on, you over here. And the thing about it is that people focus so much on the problem. So it's like if you was in the woods and you stepped in a bear trap and your ankle started bleeding or something, and you looking like, oh my gosh, my ankle is bleeding, who put this trap there, I can't believe this happened. You thinking about everything else but what you could do to get out of this situation.
Come on.
You thinking about everything else. You projecting in your sorrows and hoping somebody will victimize them and have your strength from somebody else's emotion. That's not how it works. Yeah. You got to take it from you. Your strength has to be from you, or it's never going to get done correctly.
Come on now. Yeah. Like, so since you've been writing for so long, it's rare that I ask this, but how do you know when your writing is done?
So a lot of times, and I think as artists, we all we all do this. It's just not. It's never done. Yeah. It's not done. And then you'll have like a couple of pieces that kind of resemble each other, and you're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and put them together. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and put them together, and we're gonna make one poem. And I think like I'll go through it, and I'll have my final bar, because I'll have like my last verse try to really finish out with like a boom. Yeah. But then I'll be going over it because I'll be trying to remember it, and I'll be like, well, I could add this, like this. Yeah. I mean, this would sound good extra, right there.
A little pepper on the side.
I'll be like, no, because then I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. You got to know.
I've been recently. I've been on a little writing tear to where like. I've been trying to do more comedic style poetry, and I'm like, man, every time I start writing something, it get real serious, and I'm like, this is not what I was looking for, but I'm like, I gotta finish it. So I go ahead and I finish that, and then I hop on to something else. But the last few poems that I've been writing, they have been silly, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. And usually I know how long it should be, so it it has a good length to it. But now it's to the point where it's just like, all right, now I'm just adding a whole bunch of fat to this, and there's some things that don't need to be there, and it's just me adding extra to it, and I'm like, that part of the artist where it's like, all right, this is good, but it's a gimme. Like you can't just be giving that. I don't want to come with the mediocre. I want to make it stand out to where it's just like, oh, this is nice, instead of just like, oh, you just putting words together. I don't never want to just be putting words together. I want it to mean something. I also want people to feel something as I'm saying it, but I also, I want to do as good as the last poem has done. How do you deal with that? Hey, when it comes to like, you got a banger in one poem and then you start a new one and it's like, I don't know.
Right. Man, I think it just depends on the story too, because I feel like as artists, we could be walking down the street and trip over a crack and be like, this damn crack that I done seen today, and we just start writing something. So I just try to elevate from the story, and like usually it all comes full circle back into like trying to develop consciousness. So I kind of just use the riddle, but I just try to make every poem my best poem. Even if I'm like, oh, that one went hard, well, this one will go harder. And then the next one will go harder. Yeah. And it's just going to keep going harder and harder and harder. And I just want to elevate on that.
I've ran into, like, the few poems that I have written, I've always been like, well, this is the best one here. And I put some to the side. I'm like, this ain't never going to work. And then I wind up doing it. And then that one there becomes the better one. And I'm like, God, well, I didn't know. I didn't think it was going to do this. Like, I'm glad that it has done this, but now it's just like, all right, well, this seemed a lot more simpler than the first one. So how do I, like, to say it was so simple, how do I grab that again? How do I grab the attention of that again? Like, so, like, when you write, where is your favorite place? Do you have a favorite place to write?
I do. Yeah. Weirdly enough, it's in my car. Like, I would just sit in my car for hours on hours. It's like my car has this special energy or something. Yeah. I don't know. And, like, the CVS parking lot. I don't know what it is about the CVS parking lot. But in my car at night in the CVS parking lot is going to be a banger. I know it is. Hey,
I feel that though. I feel that. I used to just like to take trips just because I'm like, oh man, the system in my car sounds nice. And just the echo of it. But I've never had a specific place. I know certain places where the better ideas come in the shower. That's where some good ideas come. While I'm at work, usually, and I'm like, oh, you doing this because I can't write shit down right now. Yeah, like I wind up. Yeah. Always when I can't, I have to pay attention to something else. Yeah, it's like, why you do this to me now? I usually when I'm at work, whenever it depends on, I've always got a pencil or a marker on me, but there's never any paper. So I'm usually ripping off pieces of cardboard, writing on some metal or something that is just around, and it has to be. I got things just laid all over the house, just like, okay, this was that from that day. Sometimes I don't even know what the hell I was saying that day, but I just need to get it out. I need to get those thoughts out because eventually maybe this could be something. Or, it's just there just in case I do need it. I can add it to something else. I'm never sure what I'm going to use it for, but I understand if the idea comes, then I have to put it down on something just so I know. Because have you forgotten, like, things that you've, like, thought about during the day? Like, this is going to be epic. How you feel about that?
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I'll write it down. That is so fire. I'm going to remember that. There's no way I'm not going to remember that. And I don't remember it. And I'm like, I'll have this one word in my head and I'm like, I know it has something to do with that. And I just be like, dang. And so I've taught myself, I'm like, you girl, just write it down. Wherever you are, just write it down. It's okay if it don't make sense. It's okay if you abbreviate it don't spell it right. If you get it close enough, you're going to know what you mean. You're going to be like, oh, cool. Autocorrect later, girl. Just write that down. Just write it down.
If somebody tried to proofread what I had, I'm like, there would be a lot of tick marks, a lot of red marks everywhere. Just because, I'm not trying to spell nothing correctly. I'm just trying to make sure it gets out, and then I'll fix it in post. Exactly. At this time, it's just like, it's just a whole bunch of words on the page until I go back into it, usually, like, how long does it take for you to accomplish an actual piece?
Ooh, it definitely depends, because sometimes I'll get this certain surge of energy and I could just boom, boom, boom and just write it out. But even then, it'll probably take me like 3 days to actually finish that poem. Mm-hmm. And then if I'm just writing a poem just in general, it'll probably take about 3 to 5 days for me to actually finish it, because I'll just keep on going back and writing stuff that I think will fit in there. And sometimes, like you said, you'll have those fat fillers in there.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, Saint, hold on, chill out. You need to just go ahead and make a part 2. And they can come back for more later.
Yeah, that part 2 is necessary.
Come on.
Yeah.
Sometimes in part 2s are very much needed.
Now, this name, Saint Atlas, where did that come from?
So it's my identity. Like, I'm not who I am without Saint or Atlas. So they're two different people. When I go up on the stage, most of the time it's Atlas. When I'm in the crowd and I'm chilling with everybody, it's Saint. They give two different vibes, but they're both very much needed. Like, Saint will be performing for the first time next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a kicker, because Atlas is definitely more intellectual. Saint is more the
that's dope. That's dope. See, I've never used to ask people where their names come from, and most of the time, especially as artists, especially out here, we don't even bother with real names anymore. It's just like, oh, this is Maniacal. What's happening, Maniacal? I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? I know who it is. Like, once I got out of college, people know me as Flip, and just because I was acrobatic, and so yeah, I would get drunk and people would be like, flip, and I would go ahead and flip in the bar, and they was like, oh my God, what the hell? So everywhere I go, I would know that if somebody called me Flip, I would know, be like, oh nigga, that's a college day, hold on. I'd be like, where are you coming from? I don't need these memories coming back. Yeah. So yeah, a name means a whole lot, especially for artists. Like, that is something that I kind of fell upon my name, to where it's just like, okay, this is what it's gonna be, just because I do like wordplay and everything. So and alliteration was a thing. Like, I had a friend that we would always just from time to time we would just go up to each other and like alliterate something, but kind of like shoot jabs at each other as we're doing it. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I don't have too many people that I do this with. So I took that from there and just kind of like brought it over into my name. Now, I didn't think that this name was going to be very difficult for people, especially when you see it on paper. But it's just
difficult for them to spell.
For spell, to say, all of that, man.
It's just, humankind just got to do better. That's it.
Yeah. I'm like, phonetically, if you can just go on Google, it'll show you how to say it.
I just learned how to spell it. It's Maniac and then Owl.
Yeah.
It's Maniac and Owl. Y'all, it's the two-step process.
It's a two-step process. That is it. And it is. But now that I'm out there more, so more people know it, and it's just crazy that when it does become like a household name, that there's no other name like it. Like that, I don't know any other name like Saint Atlas, and so like that. Those are usually the people like Elvis. There's no other Elvises out there, and if there is another Elvis, they're always going to think about Elvis,
Presley,
or
exactly.
Eminem. Besides, there's no other names like that, and so I've always thought deep into like somebody's moniker, just because it's like, oh, like if you're the only one, like I can cover the board when it comes to like finding a .com or something like that.
Yeah.
Just because most people, they don't spell it right anyway, and they won't put the menace behind it either. So to be able to run with that and be like, oh, I got something here. It feels good, but it's just like that. A name means a lot, especially when it is something that resembles you, So when you are writing and when you are in the zone, like, what helps your memory? Like, how good is your memory?
Oh, my memory is bad. My memory is not good. The only thing that helps my memory is doing it over and over and over again. But like also teas too. Like I love herbalism. So like I make a lot of teas, and so there's a tea that I'll use to promote brain function, and when I really need to remember something, I'll go ahead and I'll drink a couple cups.
What tea is this?
I make them myself. It just depends. I just made a health and immune system tea. I made a what's the one I made? Just a regular health tea to promote like anti-inflammatory properties and brain function, like valerian root, some Goku cola, like a bunch of herbs. Like I don't take any medicine. I haven't taken medicine in 8 years. I don't necessarily believe in Western medicine. So all of the medicine I use comes from plants. But this is how strong our mind is. I told myself years and years ago that I do not have the ability to get sick. And I convinced my brain, I truly believed and convinced my brain that I cannot get sick, and I haven't been sick in I don't know how long. So there's no need for medicine because I've told my brain that I'm so healthy that I don't need any. Yeah. So when it does come across like the weather changes and I might have allergies or something, there's always a plant for everything. There's a plant for every single thing in the world. That's why it was given to us for free. We wouldn't be put on this land with no answers.
That's dope.
They're just hidden. You just got to do the research. But the keys are all over. They're hidden. And we just got to find them. We're just closing ourselves off.
How long have you been doing that for?
8 years. When I pretty much went into Buddhism is when I started learning about all the plants and everything. And I don't eat any meat. And I just try to get in touch with my body, my mind, and my soul, because without those three connected, it's not a proper function. You're missing one element if you're missing one at all. So I try to work on my mind daily. I try to balance my soul and just alignment of the chakras and everything like that. And then my body, I try to realize what I take in it, because everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. So even the food you put into your body is energy. So does it have a negative connotation? Does it have a positive one? What do you think the plant or animal felt before it was coming into you? Because even plants are not the happiest when they go inside your body. It's just you have to really treat them with care. Talk to plants. They understand you.
Do you grow your own plants?
I wish. If I wasn't here, I would have a whole garden. I would love to grow my own plants. Probably just like stuff to cook. I love to cook, so probably some potatoes. I would grow a lot of herbs that I use in my teas anyway, so probably like some mullein, some mugwort, just a bunch of herbs that I can keep making.
I went to a spa, and they had a mugwort bath. It was like a hot tub, a mugwort hot tub, and they had a regular hot tub, and they had a mugwort hot tub. And I got that mugwort hot tub. I was like, it was so good. I felt very refreshed. My joints felt amazing. I was like, it's like my whole body smoked a blunt just now. And I was like, what? Mugwort? What? I sat there and I read that thing like 3 times. I'm like, what's this supposed to do? I never heard, I understood that things were out there like that, but I never understood what it could do to you. You can hear it from somebody so much until you do it yourself. Yes. And it's like, oh, this is okay. Like, all right, so this is, I like this. But I've never got into it myself, because I'm like, I can't get a bath this hot at my house. So,
you're gonna have to boil some water.
It seems like they got a lot of mugwort in here, and I don't have the time just to be getting all this mugwort. But this is something that I would like to look into. Right. When I do have the time. At this point in time, I'm very focused on other things besides this. There's a whole bunch of things that I really want to do. But do you meditate a lot?
Yes, I meditate. I try to meditate at least 2 or 3 times a day. But a lot of people, they think that meditation is just sitting down and just crossing your legs. Meditation is doing literally what makes you happy. It's providing your full attention and energy directly on something that causes you and your energy to be positive. Yeah. So I try to fully meditate at least 2 times to 3 times a day. Focus on my breathing, because a lot of people, we be breathing, but we don't be breathing correctly. Yeah. And I don't know, just try to transcend my mind. Always mindfulness every single day so I could grow.
I've just me and my wife, we just had our first hypnobirthing class.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, basically it is just a deep form of meditation. When I got there, like, this is just terminology they use, and I'm like, oh, this seems like meditation. Hold on, and it I learned a lot. I saw some gross shit, and I was like, oh wow. I guess I'm prepared for this. I hope I'm prepared for this. Which
we're gonna cross our fingers.
Yeah, when it came to it, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely prepared for this. Like, because there was things that I was able to tell the lady. She was like, oh, you know about this already? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I didn't know it dealt with shit like this, but I'm glad that I'm actually already in the realm of. I'm a big mushroom fan. I'm a big fan of hallucinogenics. So there, from time to time, I go. I do like. Every now and then, I take an acid trip, but that's just me though. That's just me, and I close myself off to the world, and I just focus on where I want to be in life, and it has gotten me so far. Like, I don't recommend this for everybody because acid is a different animal compared to mushrooms.
Know where to go, take some acid.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take you to a different realm. Like, whenever even with the smallest of doses, if I don't microdose it with the smallest of doses lately, since I don't take it recreationally, I take it to actually expand my mind. I go through the motions to where if I'm taking a heroic dose, and I've been on heroic dose before, to where I've leaked through my face. I'm just like, I cried, I laughed, I felt love for myself. I was just in the bed hugging myself, just
roller coaster.
Oh, it was amazing. So to be able to actually get back into that realm again, just of focus and actually meditating and going through the motions of things, like, it has opened my mind and cleared me out a lot compared to me just trying to just think of things on my own. And it's kind of like it's my boost that I like to take from time to time, and so I do get excited when it's like, ooh, I got time to do this. Okay, yeah, but I have to make sure that my sanctuary is clean and uncluttered, because that'll fuck everything up. Like, I gotta make sure that I usually have my blunts rolled. I'm like, all right, put this here, and then I'm gonna pick up my area, make sure that I don't trip on nothing. I got my blankets, and I'm gonna sit there, and I got my binaural beats or something that I can listen to while I just trip out for a good. Acid is about a good 8 hours, so that's why I'm just laying there, because I disconnect from the world, and and by the time I come back, I'm like, I gotta leave my bubble, And it's just so when you come out into this world, there's just so much other energy that you gotta deal with. How do you deal with different energy?
Oh, I just don't take anything personally. I just I learned very well from the 4 agreements that to just not take anything personally. So everybody's energy, we're all mirror images of each other. Yeah. So what energy you're projecting on me is I'm going to project my energy back onto you, because we're mirrors. So I would love for you to see me inside of you, and that's the good and calm piece that I'm going to show you, because I understand where you're coming from, because I'm also you, and I understand that energy that's coming from you. I won't judge you from that, but that's stuff that you have to figure out. It don't have nothing to do with me. Yeah. And your time will come, so I'm going to show you compassion. I'm going to show you this piece of me that you need inside of you, so hopefully it reflects back and you get that.
You are a light, Saint. And and whenever I get up on this podcast, and I've always tell people, this is why this happens, just because there's an energy that I felt that has drawn me towards this person, to where I was like, we're kind of like-minded, and I need to talk to you about things. I don't know what it's going to be about, because I always come here, and they're like, well, some people ask, what are we going to talk about? Don't worry, it'll come. And, usually it pops out like that. Like, nobody would have known that you are a herbalist, basically, and you haven't taken medicine for 8 years now. Yeah, that is amazing. Like,
not even an Advil.
Yeah, see, when I do my sober October, which is now, but also which has been September, because I got pulled over and they sent me to jail and shit, and it was like, oh, this is a controlled felony. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
They're a controlled felony.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, since you're gonna make me start this journey early, I got you. And so, like, when I do like to cleanse my system out, I don't like to take any type of Advil or leave alcohol or anything like that. So it's just I do drink teas and I drink my coffee from time to time, but I do get excited whenever it is time to do this, because before, when I started these journeys like this, these sober Octobers, I was like, I gotta stop smoking, god damn it. But now it's just like, oh, your dreams about to become real vivid. Ooh. So buckle up. I get excited. Ooh. That is my exciting moments right there, because every night it has been something that where I wake up and I'm like, I need to write this dream down. This could be a movie or something, because oh my God, it takes me to a realm to where I'm like, did this happen? You seen that? Were you with me? I'd roll over to him. You was there? Did you? Yeah, because you was all in it. Just that, and I have no idea why my brain does this, and I have no idea why when I do smoke. I mean, I kind of know, but it's just like, what is it to where I can just go into this other realm to where it's just another life that I'm living, you know? And I can't differentiate reality from the lucidity of where I'm at. And so it's just like, when I wake up, I definitely have to tell myself that, that was just a dream that did not happen. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, I would actually tell people certain things. They'd be like, I don't remember that, Kyle. I'm like, you sure? You were there? And we're like, oh, that was the dream. Okay.
See, but maybe when you waking up, you're just falling asleep and becoming a dream into that alternate place that you were sleeping in.
Oh.
So
okay.
Maybe you're actually awake in that place that you were supposed to be dreaming in, but now when you wake up, now you're dreaming in that state.
Oh, I've never put it that way before. That's fun to think about. That is fun to think about. Yeah, because usually, depending on what it is, there's certain dreams that have been reoccurring that I actually go back into. Yes. You know, but the only thing that I know about in this dream is I can't run fast, and you know, my legs get tired. That is the only thing, and I'm like, I'm dreaming, and you know, usually when that happens, I'm like, all right, but it feels so real, and it's like I should be able to outrun whatever this is, but you know, most of the times I try to interpret what these dreams mean, but there's no interpretation to them at this point in time. I don't even really like delve into it too much, but if I do think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, this could mean, like, I just recently finished Demon Slayer, the last season.
Haven't seen season 3 yet.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
It's because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I can't deal with homie in the orange yelling all the time.
Oh, he not there. He not on this episode. He not on this season. He not on this season. Yeah, he complains about being on that season too, and he's like, yeah, why are we not on this? So it is just a lot more of, like, there was so many things that I kind of related to it, and I was like, oh, this. I try to interpret. I didn't mean to, but it was kind of me like interpreting, oh, this is what this means, and that pertains to me this way. And I'm like, oh man, these animes really got me they got me down pat. Like I'm just like, this shouldn't mean anything to me because it's just a cartoon, but man, this means so much. What is your favorite anime?
Hunter x Hunter for sure. Hunter x Hunter and Death Note. But I be doing the same things. Like, Sainte and Atlas are not the only ones. But it's like I tie the Hunter x Hunter characters into the characters in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, Sainte can definitely be like Kurapika. Like, you know. Yeah. You know, he's definitely giving like chain user vibes, but I I also like Kakiguri a lot. I like Assassination Classroom and Fire Squad. I have a good amount of anime that I watch. I'm rewatching One Piece for like the 17,000th time.
Yeah? How you liking the live action? No? Hey, all right, not everybody's on wanting the live action One Piece.
I'm not a live action fan.
I'm jumping around from certain animes. Like I've started to rewatch King no Shora, and I don't care for the animation that much, but I'm a big Baki Hanma fan. That is my shit. Like, I swear, like, my inner being is Baki.
I can see that.
Yeah, and so, and my dad is Hishiro Hanma, basically. And so I'm like, eventually at some point in time, I'm gonna have to fight my father, but we both gonna realize that, this is me being this person, this is you being that person, and we are one, because we are father and son.
Yeah.
This is why I'm this way, and this is why you like that, and you just teaching me. And it's like, shit. Yeah. So I'm like, there's just I don't the thought process that these people have when they're creating these animes. That's just why anime is such a big thing now, because it resonates with a whole bunch of just the outsiders. Like, because usually back then people were like, oh, you watching anime? Why? It's like
Right.
cartoons? Just like, seriously? It's like, hold on now. It's not just cartoons.
It's not just a cartoon.
No, there's a whole life lesson. Like, I got my wife on Hunter x Hunter, and she was just like, there was every night, that's what we would watch, 2 or 3 episodes before we got all the way through it. So, she understands. She's like, oh, why would he do that? Like, why? And she was invested.
Know.
She was very much so invested there. But also, you do have your pervy side of the animes.
Right.
And
They always got to put that in. They always got to put that in.
They're very in tune with their sexuality. And it's like, dude, it's cool to be this, but it's also nice to be in tune with your sexuality, but not to an extent to where you being the pervy guy.
Right.
But,
he's got to calm down a little bit.
They do.
You got to. Even on Food Wars, like after every plate, they was just taking their tops off. I'm like, all right, we gotta stop at some point. My little sister trying to walk in the room, like, go, leave.
Yeah, there's many things that I relate life to, and they actually it helps me. It brings me to another place to where I'm like, oh, this is a better way to think about it. Instead of doing it like this, like I can actually take this route. And there's so many things that I take in that are helpful to me, but there's also so many things that I take in and I'm like, what did this do? This didn't do. What is your apps on your phone? What are the favorite apps? What are the more apps that you attend?
I really am not on my phone a lot. Like, I'll use my notes in my voice memos a lot. Sometimes I'll just have, like, I'll be in my car and I'll just be making my own personal podcast just because I talk to myself a lot. Like, I'm my best friend. Yeah. And I'll have conversations. I'll be like, ooh, girl, yeah, that was crazy. And I'll just start just random. I'll light me up some, get into my mode and start recording. And then just because there comes a point in life where we try for elevation. That's the ultimate goal. Yeah. We want to constantly elevate and grow. But there are times we slip up and we fall off. Yeah. And we look for other people to help us up. But really, the only people that can get us out of where we are is ourselves. Yeah. So when I record these things or I write these things or I have journals after journals after journals, it's for me to remember who I am. It's for me to remember the things that I did. Because if I'm just in my head, I'm not going to remember 5 years ago, oh, I did this when I was feeling like this. I know how to get myself out because I've done it before. So I have journals. I have like 7, 8 journals, and none of them are completely finished. None of the pages are written, but they're finished. Yeah. Like, those were chapters of my life. Those were stories and volumes that speak volumes. So that's what I need to turn to when I'm lost, when I'm in a different space, when I've dropped myself and I can't find myself no more. I know I've lost myself when I stop writing. When I start being creative, when I stop being creative, I know there's a problem. And so I need to go find myself. What did I do when I was in that state? Cool, let me do that again. And it's just like any other, it's your Bible. Like, it's your own personal Bible, because the stories in the Bible are pretty much things that have happened and are happening to every single one of us. Their stories portrayed from a different perspective, but they're telling you how to get it out of it, right? They're telling you how to get out of it. So basically, you're writing your own personal pieces for yourself, your instructions on how to help yourself out when you get into these problems. You just don't know it.
And usually when I do this by myself, I ask people, I'm like, how them pens moving? Y'all still writing? Y'all still jotting my life down? Because I this is me as this is me writing, because like most of the times I don't go back and reread things because I hate reading, but I can listen to something. So for me to continue to do this is basically one of the reasons why I did start this, you know, because it didn't start this way. Like the first podcast I did, I talked about 2 hours. I talked for 2 hours about my life and why I'm here and why I got there. And I did this in LA, you know, in a $900 fucking room that I was paying for in a big old 3-bedroom house, you know, with 2 pit bulls that we had to get along with. So it was a journey, you know, because I had to minimalize my life just to get to where I wanted to go. And as I was out there, people understood. It was like, how you don't seem like yourself. You don't seem like the happy person. And, you know, as much as I was trying to be happy out there, I wasn't. You know, as much as the beauty that is out in California, that everything's so beautiful, but the energy that you was receiving out there, it was like a succubus. It would just suck all the terrible energy. You would feel that. Well, I would feel it myself, just because I'm very in tune to when I'm actually around people, and I'm like, this is the demons out here, and I don't
City of Angels and Demons.
Oh my God!
I'm from LA. I'm from Ladera Heights.
Yeah,
and I came over to Houston when I was about 10 years old, but honestly, that's how I feel about Houston. And I feel like the different way about, like, when I go back home to LA, I feel refreshed and I'm with my family and like I feel like everything's cool. I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I've been in Houston for so long that it's just like, you know, I'm cool. I got it. It's been here.
I felt the same way. I'm starting to feel like that more, except for when I go home, to where I'm like, oh, this is where my recharge station is. But sometimes there are places out here that I do go. There's a forest that I've frequented every Friday. Me and my homie, we would call it a recharge, and we're like, yo, we gotta go recharge. And I roll a blunt, he rolled a blunt, and we just go walk and get lost. We wouldn't get lost. I'd be afraid if we got lost. But we'd go walk into the forest and we'd smoke up and just complain and talk about our problems and talk about life. And then once we'd leave, we'd feel refreshed, and I'd be like, just all the negative energy, you just boom, give it back to the earth, you know, go hug a tree or some shit like that.
Real?
Like, for real. Like, and it felt real good once we would leave out and then go home, and then like I would be able to deal with the next cycle of the months that would come through, and I'm like, oh, this is important, you know, because like out in California, that was the thing that would disconnect me from all of the bad energy that I would run into, because I've been to the Comedy Store and I've seen the people there, you know, and it's just like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all aren't trying to expand yourself. You're trying to ride on the energy of this next person, and that doesn't seem like you, because this person isn't you. So like, why do you continue to try to suck the life or suck the energy from this person just because you feel as if they're going to make it? And that made me very angry to see. And I'm like, leeches, nothing but the leeches. And I'm like, I don't want to be around this. And so it was very hard to actually just gain my footing out there. Like, there were other places like outside of LA, like in Compton and Crenshaw area. Like, if you would go on the outskirts of, you know, the Hollywood scene, for sure, things would be so much better. People would be like, oh, I see you. You know, when you get in there, people are like, oh, you in the fishbowl now. All right. And you start swimming, you know, so it was a totally different feeling. And I'm like, I thought that was the place that I needed to be so that I can grow, but it wasn't. You know, and I'm like, this is not what I want. I don't want to deal with. It was still necessary. It was necessary because I needed to see it so I can come back and tell my homies and be like, hey man, it's that bullshit over here.
This ain't it.
This ain't it over there. No, I mean, if you want to go ahead, but I'm letting you know, like, I've seen it with my 2 eyes, and I'm like, no, they're doing the wrong thing out there. I mean, but there is a place that you can grow and you can, you know, excel, but you have to be on your own accord. You definitely have to be diligent with it. And those were the meccas for me when it came to comedy. It was California and New York, and I was like, I'm not. I don't like the knit tightness of New York.
I hate New York. I hate New York.
It was at the time. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to California, and I was like, oh, this wasn't the place for me. So when I left and I've actually got to visit New York, I was like, oh, I feel like Batman.
Gotham.
Fucking, I was like, oh, I should have came here first, just so I can deal with this. Like, I'm a fan of New York with how they have that go get it attitude, and I don't give a fuck. Like, if you ain't doing what I'm trying to do, then get the fuck out of my way type of shit. Like, hey, good morning, you know, and then boom, I'm on my way. That type of feeling. I'm like, oh, it's grimy out here. I like it. Everything's just so, but I don't care for the cold. I don't care for having to go up 3 flights or down 3 flights just to go ahead and wash my clothes because it don't fit in my flat. And I'm like, nah, I can't deal with that. But New York was more of a place to where I felt comfortable and compared to like California. But now it's like I'm in Texas and it's just
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Honestly, that is exactly what it is.
And I'm like, I get
Houston ain't even like, everybody keep moving to Houston though, like from everywhere. So it's like it's a lot of diversity in one place. You know, so it's different. It's definitely like, we gonna see.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel now. Just because, like, the dumb shit that I ran into to where, you know, now I'm a fucking convicted felon for some dumb shit, and it's like, you know, now I'm looked at as a monster, and I'm like, I'm just trying to work and live, you know. Yeah, man, they put me on a Facebook fucking. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, hey, look, we got another one. Oh, he had a controlled substance. So tell them what it is.
Right.
Tell them what the fuck it was, because now they got old people like, oh, thanks for saving the community. They didn't save shit. I want to go up on that goddamn fucking Facebook and be like, bitch, I'm the monster, you know. But you can't do that. So it's just like, leave that energy alone, Kyle. Just do what you got to do, and then, you know, move on. But there's.
It's something for sure. I feel you. I know so exactly what that means. That's how I feel about Houston too.
It makes me so upset. I'm like, I thought this would be a good place. Like, this was, I refused to come here just because my parents were here, and I'm like, I'm not moving back in with my parents. And so then like COVID happened, and I was like, shit. Well, I guess I got to move back in.
Come on.
But they were welcoming with open arms, and this is what I need because I have family here.
Yes.
And like, there's family in space. There's so much land out here to where, like, oh, you can seclude yourself from all of the dumb energy. And that's why, you know, I just go home to my house and I'm like, oh, this is my bubble. Okay, I'm here, so this is fine. You know, I got enough property to where I'm like, oh, this is so much better. Even though Texas is irking my nerves, you know, I still have a place to go to where I'm like, thank you, Texas. You know, it's like still.
It's like Texas be getting on your nerves, but you know, at the end of the day, I still love you, bitch.
Yeah.
You know, we still like this, but just know, like, you really been testing me lately.
Very much so, and it has been some tests where I'm like, I ain't got my number 2 pencil, motherfucker. Like, what we gonna do?
I don't got no Scantron with it. Turnitin.com is malfunctioning. Cannot do it.
But things have been looking up though, and I have been grateful for that. Like, people have been trying to test me. The devil has been on the nigga's shoulder.
He gonna do it.
Yeah,
that's what he gonna do.
He been right there. He like, hey, look what I'm doing to you, and I'm like, oh, bitch, I see what you're doing, and I started to fix those problems, and now, like, as I've been meditating and praying about it more, like, good things have been coming in the midst of the bad. So it's just like, oh, okay, I can do this. Like, this ain't too bad to where it's just like it's gonna break me down.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm able to actually get by and see the good that's happening, even though, you know, the thing that I want hasn't came yet. You know, my mental is becoming clearer. At a certain point in time, like, there was a haze that was affecting me and my friends. Like all of us. It was like, I don't know what this is. Like I'm just everything's cloudy. Yeah. I'm like, what is this and how do I get rid of it? Now things are kind of like and it's like
fog has cleared.
Oh shit. Okay. It feels like I feel better about myself now.
Yeah.
Even though I'm dealing with dumb shit. It's just like, oh, I can do this.
It's more tolerable though.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the story like the monk? This guy came up to this monk and he was like, I can't take life no more. Like, how do you make life more bearable? And the monk led him to this stream and he had a satchel full of salt. So he put a handful of salt in a cup and dipped it into the river and told the dude to drink. And of course it tasted disgusting. It tasted like straight up salt. Yeah. So he spit it out and he was like, ugh. And then so now he took another handful of salt and he put it in the lake and he told the guy, drink it from the lake. And he drank it and he was like, oh, that was refreshing. So the main point is like when your mind is as vast as a lake, you're more likely to be able to bear stuff. Life becomes more bearable. But when you're closed-minded and you have such a small way of thinking, it's not going to taste bearable because you're filling yourself up with so much stuff that's not supposed to be there.
That's dope. Oh, that's what we needed right there, goddamn it. Hell yeah. Okay, palate cleanser now. Palate cleanser. That was good. That's what I needed right there. That's exactly what I need. I'm gonna take that and jot that down and tell people about it. I'm gonna fuck it up, but I'm gonna tell people about it.
Life has so many lessons. Like,
I love that lesson.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Now, usually before I get out of here, I like to play a game, especially with new people. It's a game of choices.
Okay.
All right. Now you got 4 options and 4 choices. Okay. Basically, your options and your choices are: you got to be one, you got to raise one, you got to sell one, and you got to have relations with the other one. Okay.
Okay.
And
be one,
raise one,
sell one, and have relations with the other.
Yes. And then your choices are mermaid, a mogwai, a Mexican, and a manatee.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna be a mermaid.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna be a mermaid. Sell one and have relations with one.
And then raise one.
And you said a manatee, a Mexican,
and a mogwai.
What's
Mogwai
that?
is a gizmo. Have you ever seen Gizmo or Gremlins?
Yeah, the gremlin?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I want to switch my answer. I want to switch my answer. Okay. All right, I'm definitely going to be the one with the patch, too.
You got the specific one that you want. Hell
yeah. I'm going to be the gremlin. I'm going to have relations with the mermaid.
Okay.
It's going to be nautical nonsense. Be something I wish. Not on no racist shit. But I'm going to have to sell the Mexican. Yeah. And then the manatee. I mean, I'll raise the manatee as my own because, it was this one VeggieTale episode with Barbara Manatee. And ever since then, I have low-key wanted a manatee. Like, you can ask all my friends, Sainte wants the most ridiculous animals as pets. But I definitely got to marry me a mermaid. Yeah. I'm going to have to go gremlin mode. I'm going to have to do that and raise a manatee. I can't raise a Mexican. I don't even want a kid. So... That's answer.
Perfect. Like there's many people have done this, but the routes that they take it's like their own fingerprint. It is always different. And to say that you was like, fuck that, I'm gonna go gremlin mode on this motherfucker. Get me wet and everything. I'm making more gremlins. We gonna have parties.
We get the pet.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Oh man. Well, Saint Atlas, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Y'all could find me on Instagram at Saint_Atlas. That's Saint with an E. That's SAINTE _Atlas.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, y'all can find me there.
This has been Tell Me a Joke, the guy line and chasing the dream. I've been your host of Maniacal, Menace, Kyle Smith. Say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And y'all know where y'all can find me. I'll be back on this thing. Thank y'all, and y'all have a good night. Keep dreaming, jokers.